What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's me, Doug Lucas, founder of Doug Productions, but you already know that. Want to thank you for 200 subscribers, but that's not why I'm here. That's a completely separate video, which you can see prior to this one, because this video, will be going up shortly after that celebration video does. Thank you, Kirkland Johnson, for the help. Enough on that, though. I don't want to dwell on that because I want to start this video, which will hopefully be one of many videos to come in this new series, which will be top 5 videos. I've always wanted to do top 5. I actually did one a long time ago, my Hardcore Gamer show, about worst weapons you can get in Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, but enough on that too. The point is here is what we're going to focus on is the top 5 best moments of the Walking Dead Adaption Season 1. Now, as you know, the Walking Dead Adaption is a video that me, Kirkland, and a bunch of other people worked together on to create a story based off the Walking Dead universe. For those of you who don't know that, there will be spoilers ahead for Season 1, and I would recommend going and watching said season or series before watching this video. But if you're a fan of the show, then I thank you for that, and we'll jump right into it with number 5. Now, number 5, I think, is probably gonna have to, like, what takes the cake for number 5 would probably have to be the moment in episode 6, right at the beginning, when we see Randall has what appears to be like a bandage, kind of like a bandana over his head, hiding his eye that he actually lost because Michael took it in episode 5. So the reason why I picked this as the number 5 personally is because it's just, when everything happens in episode 5, it just kind of ends like that, because I won't lie, we kind of rushed to get it out, but that's okay. In episode 6, though, people are going to be wondering what he might look like, and when you see him with that reveal, it's honestly pretty intense. So that's number 5 in my opinion. So now we're moving on to number 4. So number 4, we're going way back. In my opinion, I think what takes number 4 would have to be the first time Randall Crane meets Douglas Jones. Who the fuck are you? Now, as you know, this happens in an auditorium. We filmed it as a school project, so all the scenes took place in the school. But this scene is essentially what starts that on and off relationship between Randall and Douglas that we see a lot throughout the series. And it's just in that moment, that's the first character that Randall encounters other than Macy. But Macy is already with Randall, so to see the main character that we know meet this character, it's almost like when Rick meets Glenn. I think that's like a comparison, I guess, to what it's like when Randall and Douglas first meet. But Randall and Douglas are dicks to each other. They don't become friends at first. But anyway, that's number 4. So the scene that takes the number 3 spot will be in episode 7. And that is the final scene in the episode between Clayton and Doug. It is the first time they meet. Like, at the beginning of the episode is the first time they meet, sorry. But this scene is just, the way we filmed it and the way it turned out was exactly how we wanted it. And it's just an intense scene. It's also kind of emotional for Douglas Jones, like my character. And we fully see what Clayton is capable of, even after Roxanne goes missing. It's a pretty intense scene, if you ask me. So I'm not going to dwell on that scene too much. One thing I will say, though, is when Roxanne disappears, it's because we couldn't get the person who played Roxanne at that point in time because there was complications. So she was actually supposed to be in that scene panicking while my character gets beat up, and then I get thrown in the trunk, and then she goes to kind of attack Clayton, and Clayton kind of pins her up against the car, tells her to get in because we're going to find Randall. Unfortunately, that didn't go exactly to plan, but the scene is just as intense. So that scene is number 3 on our list for top 5 most intense moments in season 1. So, next. Now, this scene is a fan favorite for the community of our show, especially us who created it, because the scene didn't turn out exactly how we were hoping, but it still ended up being 100%. So number 2 on the list is when Randall first meets Owen. Now, Kirkland's probably going to hate me for this, but that's okay. But this scene is just intense because of what Owen really is. People don't know that in season 1. We wanted Owen to be a mysterious character that shows up and helps our group, so that way the audience would think he was kind of a good guy. In season 2, that kind of changes, and everyone who watches the show will know that. Anyway, the reason why this scene takes number 2 excuse me. The reason why this scene takes number 2 is because it's just out of the blue. We see Randall leave the apartment building. It's in episode 8, by the way. He leaves the apartment building and he goes to look for Douglas, like Douglas Jones, my character. And instead of finding Douglas, he finds Owen, and he just comes out of nowhere. As you can see, it's just 1 minute, you see Randall looking around, and you can tell that no one's around. The forest appears to be empty, and then just, he's there. And that's what we loved about the scene, is he just shows up and throws Randall off. And then the whole dialogue they have, where Owen actually knows where my character, where my character is, kind of leads Randall to trust Owen. That's why Randall trusts Owen in that scene, is because Owen knows where I am and tells him where my character is, with no ifs, ands, or buts. And it's just an intense scene. And yeah. Now, for the number 1 scene in season 1, in my opinion, and I know what you're probably thinking, it's going to be kind of cliche, but in my opinion, it was one of the best scenes in season 1. Don't get me wrong, season 1 was one of the best seasons. Like, in our opinion, we actually get a lot of feedback saying that season 1 is slightly better than season 2. But anyway, so season 1, the scene that takes the number 1 spot is the fight scene between Douglas Jones, Clayton Corypheus, and Randall Crane after Randall loses his hand. In that scene, from what you can tell, it seems like one person is going to die there. It's going to be one of the 3 people. Now, at first, one of the reasons why I like the scene is because when Clayton finds Douglas is impervious. He's got no ammo, all he has is a sword, and he's alone. And Clayton is just one tough bastard. So it almost makes you think that season 1 finale, because this would be episode 10, Douglas Jones gets the hell beat out of him, and a lot of people are like, who's gonna save him, right? And then all of a sudden Randall shows up with no hand, and it's just intense, because even one-handed, the next day after cutting it off and cauterizing it and wrapping it up, because that's one thing we didn't show, was he was gonna actually put it up against the hot element, scream in pain, right, for cauterizing the wound, or whatever you want to call it, so that way he wouldn't bleed out. But we never showed it. That was supposed to happen right into the title sequence, but it changed a little bit. But anyway, the point is it was just an intense scene, and then I guess I could also incorporate the scene after that too, where after Clayton and us separate, because we don't actually die, we come to an agreement, separate, which I think is also cool, because Clayton's kind of the main bad guy season 1, so it's kind of cool that the season ends with us letting Clayton go and Clayton letting us go so we can find our friends. It's kind of unique. It's not something you'd really see in The Walking Dead, but it just goes to show that our characters are a little different from the characters in the actual show, because our characters are able to say, look, you're really looking for someone and you're desperate to. I'm doing the same thing. Let's make a pact and go find these people and hope that we never cross paths. Now, of course, that doesn't really happen. But anyway, so like I said, the other scene, the whole big scene, could be pretty much the end of season 1 is what takes number 1 on our list. Just with how the big fight scene, we come to an agreement, forgive each other, separate, and then the season ends with Randall and I walking on the tracks, thinking we're going to find Macy, because Clayton told us where she apparently is and that she's still alive. And I think that's one of the best endings to the season. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. I hope you enjoyed this little video. It's not 100% great, but I will be making more, and I will have people here sitting with me when we make it. Of course, I'll have Kirkland on helping me do this once in a while. Just other people, right, helping me with the show. And I'm also doing this to help people with waiting for the second half of our season 3, because it's going kind of slow right now. We're having a little trouble because the weather here is kind of crazy because we live in Canada. But anyway, we will get it done, I promise. I think you're gonna love it. And anyway, so I hope to see you again in another video for top 5. Next time, I think we're gonna do the top 5 moments in Disturbed 1. Of course, why I'm saying that is because I'm not just going to focus on the Walking Dead adaptation. I will focus on our Walking Dead show, Disturbed, the actual Walking Dead show. I might do some top 5s for like weapons in Call of Duty and stuff like that. Just little things to keep people entertained until the big stuff comes out. Which reminds me, there's a lot of cool stuff coming out on my YouTube channel into 2017, and there will probably be an update video for that closer to Christmas time. So we'll see you all then. Have a good night, guys, and bye-bye.